Alright, so now we are in this dungeon. How we got here, I guess, is we just sort of walked up from the coast or something. It's called the Perilous Ruins. You can use the shift the camera while moving. Yeah, it's all about camera control. So where your camera looks, that's where you'll be looking and attacking and aiming. You can do charge attacks, like that. There's some cool training dummies. Alright. And of course, just like in Phantasy Star Online, beating up enemies unlocks the door to the next area. It's funny because it's telling me that number 3 is my magic arrow, even though I reassigned it to number 2. Yes, I know all about stamina recovery. If you hold down right-click with Eevee, you can regain some stamina instantaneously, full stamina. Stamina is that little green bar at the top just underneath my health bar. You probably can't even see it in the video, it's so thin. This UI uses very tiny characters. But that's the idea, is it's wanting to be minimalistic. There's even a oh, so that's how you kick, it's R. I had forgotten about that. Okay, so there's a quick kick button in case you want to just, like, defeat the enemy by kicking them around. And all the item drops in the game are in these little black clouds. I think the reason for that is so that they didn't have to model every single drop in the game. Even though they did model a lot of things, like rubies and sapphires. Oh, and here I'm going to be able to... Yeah. The target's on the wall, that's a nice little touch. Yes, we've mastered spear throwing. Now let's try throwing a spear at one of these guys. Whoops, I missed. I guess we haven't mastered spear throwing yet. Wow, we really are bad at that we can't do that at point-blank range. Gotcha. Now, in battle, I think you're only allowed to bring up to 12 spears. Or something like that, even though you can actually equip way more than that in your inventory. It's just, per battle you can only bring so many. Just like you can only bring, I think it's 8 healing runes. And you can use each healing rune 3 times, and you can only bring, like, X number of potions. So, battle is all about using resources without you know, overdoing it. So you can't have an inventory full of stuff. You have to very carefully plan out what you do. And wow, that guy looks tough. Good thing I have a magic shield that prevents me from taking damage directly. Let's try Fireball on him. There we go. That did a lot of damage. Now let's use the recovery to do an exact same Fireball again. Now normally, you can't just spam Fireball like that. You can only do it once every 1 minute 30 seconds by default. It's telling me how to drink potions. I assume by now it expected me to be hurt. And then, awesome slow motion cutscenes whenever you kill something, it's a boss. Seriously, it goes all motion blurry and focuses on you. There might be other enemies still around, and the camera's just gonna stop and look at everything. It's gonna be awesome. It can result in some pretty hilarious screenshot moments, too. Okay, so now we've completed the training. But yeah, the similarities between this game and Phantasy Star Online are very high. With the whole repeating attacks, randomized dungeons, and yes, the dungeons are totally randomized. Every time you play through a dungeon, it's different. The central town where you do things, well, I guess that's similar to a lot of games, but I don't know why, but I keep having flashbacks to Phantasy Star Online when I'm playing this. It just really reminds me of it. The fact that it's repetition, a lot of repetition, but it doesn't really seem to ever feel like it gets old. But thankfully, they have methodologies in place which prevent it, especially from getting old, like cinematic things and cutscenes and epic boss battles, which also PSO had. And I'll be getting to that next. So stay tuned, everybody. One of the more creative things that they have is one of the more creative things that they've added is a system which prevents people from playing the game for way too long at a time, using a token system. Here's the tokens. And you get 50 of these 3 days out of the week. And boat trips usually cost 2 tokens. The more boat trips you take in a single day, you then have to start paying 3, and then eventually 4 tokens. And you can also choose to pay real money for gold and platinum tokens, which you can then use just one of to board a boat. And those are, I think, pretty cheap dollar to token standard, but still, it's just a way of getting a little bit of extra money out of you. And they've added some extra additional NX points that you can earn if you spend NX right now with a credit card, or earn it, yeah, buy some. Look at this little tweak. Like, if I start running and I come to a stop, the character's legs, they actually come to a running stop. They don't just outright stop walking like you see in a lot of games. They took very, very careful liberties at making sure that the characters look and feel very realistic when they're moving around. So it's very cool like that. You don't have a stiff kind of just run in place. It doesn't feel like running in Fable, which feels a little almost like the characters are just sort of jogging everywhere. I don't know, it just feels more natural than you see walking in a lot of games, even though you don't come to a complete and total stop when you stop, which I know a lot of people would rather see in a game, but, I mean, in the combat, you don't really even notice it, and you'd rather be charging in and hitting your enemies anyway for any of the classes you can play as, so it's pretty cool. I've now completed my newbie quest, and I think they're going to be asking me to look for a Fomorian emblem, and they gave me some armor. Okay, that's a lot of trumpets. More trumpets. Okay, so we shall be doing Fomorian emblem next.